What's going on? Darkside Phil here, and I'm taking some time out from working, from gaming. As you know, I am a full-time gamer here on YouTube, but taking some time out to do a very special video talking about the status of some bills that are currently in the development stages in our United States House of Representatives and also the Senate, called the SOPA, or Stop Online Piracy Act, and PIPA, the Protect IP Act. As you know, if you are a follower or a fan or a viewer of mine, I've been following closely along with the development of these bills and other similar bills over the past 6 months. I mean, it was way back in July of 2011 where I first put out a video about Bill S.978, which was basically going to make it a felony for someone like myself, who puts out video game Let's Plays and playthroughs and reviews and such, to possibly be held accountable as a felon if someone were to say that what I'm doing is copyright infringing, even though there's never been any kind of precedent, any kind of legal case to determine if video game footage used for certain purposes is actually protected under fair use or not. Right now it's assumed it is. So it started with that back in July, and then over the course of the next several months, other bills started being drummed up within the United States government. You had the Stop Online Piracy Act in the House of Representatives and the Protect IP Act in the Senate, both of which not only took the elements out of Bill S.978, which would make it a felony to, or possibly make it a felony to do things like video game playthroughs, but went even a step further and said that we're now going to make it a legal requirement that if someone sends a cease and desist notice, not to, for example, YouTube, or not to me because they think that I'm violating a copyright, but they would send this notice to an ISP. That's right, someone like Cablevision, someone like Comcast, someone like Verizon, someone like AT&T, these companies that provide internet, and say, we suspect that this website may be infringing copyrights. We are telling you because you need to take them down. And then it's within the scope of that ISP to decide whether or not they want to take down this particular website. Meaning, if you or I were to try to go to this website, we wouldn't be able to. It would say it's been blocked by your internet service provider. It's blatant censorship. Now, of course, the ISP wouldn't be forced to do it, but if they become immune, if they block that website, why wouldn't they do it? And so, these bills that have been in development in the U.S. government for the past more than 6 months, really, but really I've been talking about them for that length of time, are now finally kind of coming to fruition. And we've been through some road bumps, we've been through some trials and tribulations in regards to these bills. What I want to do in this video is to give everyone an honest update on what's going on with them, to clear up some confusion. There has been a heck of a lot of confusion and misinformation going on regarding these bills. I want to clear that up. I want to get everyone up to speed on what's going on, and just let everyone know where we are right now. So if you could, I would appreciate it. Just like with those previous videos, I mean, that first video I put out in July of 2011 got 600,000 views. Subsequent videos have got anywhere from like 80,000 up to another like 200, 300,000 views. Please spread the word about this video, because there's a lot of people out there who are talking and don't know what the hell they're talking about, and I want to really clear up the situation, okay? So, what has happened with these bills in the past several months, and where are we now? And why, first of all, why is it so startling, okay? Why is it so appalling? Why is it so worrying that these bills are trying to be pushed through? Well, here's what happened. These bills were created by, one by a committee in the House of Representatives and one by a committee in the U.S. Senate, and the bills are almost identical. There's very few differences. There's a couple differences that are key about who has what power to send these notices and to regulate the internet and provide, determine what needs to be censored or not. But really, the bills are very similar. So right off the bat, here's something fishy. Why is it that the House of Representatives and the Senate are trying to pass a bill that's almost identical? And of course, that means there's some kind of a force behind these bills, and they realize, gee, if one gets shut down, we still have another shot with the other one. Okay? What is wrong with the bills? The problem isn't the fact that these bills are attempting to stop online piracy. Very few people have an issue with that. Now, there are some people who do have an issue with that and who are, oh, we love piracy and piracy promotes business. I'm not even going to get into that, because I kind of disagree with that personally, but that's my own personal opinion and philosophy. I think the majority of people who do valid business in the world would say that we understand piracy, bootlegging, all these things are bad, okay? They take away legitimate jobs, legitimate money from businesses. And we have no problems trying to stop them. But these bills are worded so broadly that it would become a hideous mess if they were ever to be signed into law, to the point where, number one, the bills wouldn't effectively be able to be enforced because they're worded so broadly and give such unprecedented power to whatever the regulatory body is going to be that's now going to be determining whether or not a website has copyright infringing material on it, that there's no way you could enforce it. Day one, when either of these bills got signed into law, YouTube would have to completely change their business model. Twitter would have to completely change their business model. Any website that relies on user-generated content would be forced to completely lift their business and flip it on its head and force actual manual review of every single file, every single picture, every single thing that goes up on any of these websites would have to be reviewed by a person for copyright infringement. It would hinder business massively if these bills were signed into law, and so it makes no sense as to why is our government trying to pass them. And the answer behind that is there is a huge lobbying body. It's the Motion Picture Association of America, the Actors Guild, all these the music industry, all these industries who have been affected by piracy are terrified because they're losing money and they want to try to protect this archaic business model that they're really working around. So instead of saying, let's adapt to the future, let's find new ways to attract people to our products, they're just trying to latch on to the past, okay? And so what they've done is they've sent lobbyists to the U.S. government, and these lobbyists have talked it up with our lawmakers and said, listen, this is a good idea to pass a bill like this. Yeah, there's 2.2 million people in the industry who are affected by this piracy. Keep in mind how many billions of people use the internet worldwide that would be affected by a regulatory bill that censors the internet. But fuck billions of people, we're talking about 2.2 million specific people. So that's really what's going on here. One small group that's now thrown so much money and effort at our lawmakers that our lawmakers have decided to drop everything. That's right. Don't create new jobs in this horrible economy. Don't try to, fix the healthcare problem that's never going to get fixed in America. No, instead, let's regulate the internet because that's what everyone needs and wants right now, right? No, obviously it's not. Our lawmakers are wasting their time because the lobbyists are in their ear offering them money for their campaigns, offering them support so that they can get reelected. So this is what's going on. So the first reason that these bills are stupid is because they're not enforceable. The second reason that these bills are stupid is because they might not even affect anything that they're intending to affect. There's actually been people who've analyzed these bills and said, you know what, the number one website that they're trying to attack, which is websites like the Pirates Bay or Pirate Bay, excuse me if I don't know what it's called. I don't use piracy, so I don't fucking know what the real name of the website is, but I know what it is. Mega Upload, all those websites where you can just upload any file you want and anyone can download it for a certain period of time. These are the kind of websites that these bills seem to be targeted at, but there are analysts who have looked at these bills, legal analysts, said these bills wouldn't even affect those fucking websites. So our lawmakers have no idea what they're doing, okay? At least the ones who are supporting these bills. They really have no concept of the technology, of the culture, of anything regarding the internet. They just think they know what they're doing. They've had hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people over the course of the past 6 months who have started online movements like myself with my videos, like people like the manprogress.org, Fight for the Future. All these different non-for-profit organizations have come together, gotten millions of people to write their lawmakers, both their senators and their representatives, saying, these bills make no sense. It's not going to do what you intend. It's too broad. You're going to stifle business, stifle culture and economy, not promote it, which is what the MPAA is whispering in your ear. It's going to be counterproductive. It's going to do the opposite. Well, guess what? Some of the lawmakers have come out and said, well, yeah, we got a lot of messages, but this is a bipartisan effort, and that means that both the Democrats and the Republicans are kind of agreeing that this is a good idea. And how often do we agree? So that must mean that we're right. Yeah, because they think that they're so smart that they know better than you, even though obviously just by reading the bills, they don't understand the internet. So it's ridiculously laughable how stupid these bills are, how ridiculous it's been that, keep in mind, in the past 6 months, how many times in the mainstream media, meaning television, all these politics shows, hell, even on mainstream websites, mainstream news websites like CNN.com, how often have you heard about these bills? Almost never, except for the past couple of weeks. You want to know why? It's because, that's right, mainstream media is owned by the Motion Picture Association and that whole same industry. The same people who are lobbying in the ears of our lawmakers to get these ridiculously stupid bills passed are the same people who control the news. So why would they want people to be saying negative things about these bills in the news? They wouldn't. Now here's what's happening. This is where I want to get everyone up to speed. I want to get everyone informed on what the status is with these bills and what we still need to do, okay? These bills, both of them, have not yet been passed, okay? One of them has been voted on in committee, okay? That's PIPA, the Protect IP Act. And that one is going to go for a vote in the U.S. Senate. Supposedly, there's rumors it's going to be like January 24th, 2012. It's hard to pinpoint because sometimes they say it and then it doesn't happen, or sometimes something else takes precedence, especially in this tumultuous time when everyone's worrying about getting reelected and, oh no, it's campaign season. So it might change, but they're probably saying by the end of January they're supposed to take a vote on PIPA, okay? SOPA, which is the House of Representatives version of this bill, has not left committee. It went to a session in December where what they were trying to do was rush it through the committee and get it approved so that now it could go up to a vote for the whole government, and they could approve it and sign it into law. They were really trying to rush it right before the Christmas break. But what happened was, luckily, we do have intelligent lawmakers. Yes, we actually do have intelligent lawmakers. And for 2 days straight, they put up opposition to this bill in committee, and they said, no, we're not going to vote this into, the way that it is. We're not going to vote it up for any kind of approval for law. It's too broad. It makes no sense. Some people were arguing that in order to try to do a takedown notice, you should have to get a court order. There's all kinds of interesting stuff going on, and they managed to at least hold it up so that it was delayed through the Christmas break, through the New Year's break, and now that they've reconvened, it's been delayed again. Now, originally it was said that it was going to be dropped. That got flipped on its head. That's right. The person who was going to, I'm sorry, let me find his name. The person who is in charge of the SOPA bill, who is Lamar Smith, a representative from Texas, originally said he was going to drop it. Then all of a sudden in one day, flipped again and said, no, I'm not going to drop it, but we're going to delay it until February. So at least for now, SOPA is delayed on any kind of action until February. Right now, the main focus is on PIPA because, like I said, by the end of January, there's a strong chance there will be voting on this, and if it gets voted into law, we're in big trouble, okay? Now, there's some good news, okay? There's some silver lining on the clouds here. Number one, the White House, the actual White House committee, staff, whatever, which basically means President Obama, have come out publicly in a statement and said they are opposing these internet censorship bills. They feel that these bills are too broadly worded. Although they strongly believe that piracy should be contained and we should find a way to regulate and stop it, that these bills are not the way to do it. They're way too broad and they need to be looked at more closely before they get voted into law. So that is a massive positive when the White House is backing something like that, backing a movement against these bills. However, that doesn't mean that by any means that President Obama is going to veto this if they go to vote it into law, and it doesn't mean that he's going to stay that. There have been lots of issues where the White House has come out one way, and then finally when it went to get approved for law, he flip-flopped and he signed it into law. This has happened, okay? The other positive thing is that over the past 2 weeks, this week in particular, if you're watching this video, today's January 19th, 2012, I don't know when you're watching this video, but overwhelmingly the past 2 weeks, so many people have finally listened. So I've been trying for 6 months to stir up enough interest over the internet to get people to start talking about this issue. And it's not just me. Like I said, it's a lot of non-for-profit organizations, people on YouTube. A lot of people have been trying to get this issue known and mentioned. And I just want to say thank you to everyone who did, because it was an insanely important issue, and there are some people out there who really have a stake in this, and they have the power to spread word, and they don't do it. They don't exercise their right to publicly speak and to lead and to inform, and I think they should, But that's a whole other thing, and that's my personal opinion. If you have the power to do good and to stop things that you feel are wrong or could hurt other people potentially, you should probably do it instead of only caring about yourself. But I digress. That's just me. That's the kind of person I am. So anyway, over the past 6 months, we've all tried, on the internet, tried to strum up enough interest. Finally, in December, basically the whole internet realized what was going on, and you had websites like Google, like Yahoo, like Twitter, like all these major websites coming out and saying, all right, we're against these bills. Now in the past 2 weeks, finally the information about these censorship bills has hit the mainstream media. Meaning when you watch television now, finally the news can't ignore it. You want to know why? Alright, sorry about that. Actually I had to knock at my door, a package got delivered, so if you saw that little jump in editing there, that's what happened. So let me continue with what I was saying. The mainstream media can no longer ignore what's going on with these bills, regardless of the fact that they're being controlled by the companies who are trying to push these bills. And the reason is people have now started to publicly protest in different ways. First of all, people have started to assemble really in person. Just the other day, over 2,000 people went outside of a New York lawmaker's office in protest of these bills and blocked off half of the street in New York. So good luck trying to ignore the fact that there's opposition to these bills when people are finally starting to come together and protest for this cause. Number two, just this week, there was a day, I believe it was January 18th, when all major websites on the internet, including Wikipedia, Google, Mozilla, basically every major website that would probably be affected by these bills if they were to be passed in their current form, stage an online protest. Now this is where there's been some misinformation, okay? Some people were trying to go to different wikis and stuff and it was blocked out and they said, oh my god, oh, PIPA and SOPA passed, the internet's censored, it's all over. That's not what happened. These were voluntary days where these websites voluntarily censored themselves to simulate what would happen if these bills passed. So if you tried to do something on Wednesday and all of a sudden you couldn't get to your favorite website or noticed that things were blocked off or whatever, imagine if that happened all the time. If every single time you needed to get information on something, oh, let me go to Wikipedia, it's gone. That's right, because YouTube said, oh, this links to, because YouTube, sorry, I misspoke, because whoever this regulatory body, whether it's the U.S. government or whoever these bills decide will be in charge of regulating this stuff, they say, oh, there's one piece of copyright infringing material on Wikipedia. Dear, let's say, I don't know, my internet service provider is Cablevision. So, dear Cablevision, take down this website or you're legally liable. Cablevision will say, well, fuck it. We don't want to get sued. Take down the website. And now no one who has Cablevision can go to Wikipedia anymore. And now it's going to take months, if not years, of legal battles to clear it up and get the website back up. Good luck. That's the end of business. That is the end of Wikipedia. And the same thing could happen with YouTube. The end of YouTube. The end of all these things because these bills are so broadly worded. It's ridiculous. So there was a massive online protest on Wednesday and so many people were affected. They finally said, what the fuck's going on? What is really happening? The mainstream media had to respond. They couldn't ignore it. For 6 straight months they ignored these bills and how important these bills were. Now this is a funny thing. 6 months ago I told you about this stuff. No one in the news cared. All of a sudden now, it's the #1 topic. Right now, there was just a show on TV, I believe it was the Attorney General of Connecticut was on saying, oh, I'm opposed to these bills. Where the fuck were you in the past 5-6 months when they were trying to pass these bills? Now all of a sudden you're opposed? How about you pull your head out of your fucking ass and you actually do some research to figure out what's about to be passed in your own U.S. government? So, holy crap, man. Seriously, like, we got to figure out what we can do at this point. And right now, the good news is these bills have finally hit the mainstream to the point where now everyone's starting to realize. My mom I was talking to my mom on the phone, she knew about it. So obviously, in the mainstream media, this stuff is now getting attention. That's good. It's being out. It's getting aired. More and more people daily are now against it. Yesterday, trending on Twitter, like some of the #1 things were, what is SOPA? Stop PIPA. So there is now mainstream knowledge of these bills, of what's going on with them. The best thing we can do is continue to spread the word. Continue, like this video obviously, hopefully this has now cleared up some information for lots of people who were wondering what the fuck's really going on with these things. Spread the word about what's going on with these bills And all I can say is continue to do what you've been doing if you have been doing it. Continue to write your senators, continue to write your congressmen, tell them to oppose these bills, tell them to shut them down, or at least, at the very least, they need to be changed before these should be signed into law. They can't. You contact the White House. That's right, there are ways you can contact the United States White House and say, we are completely opposed to this internet censorship nonsense. You must veto if this hits your desk. Please do. There are lots of things that we can do to strum up enough hoopla about these bills that they will finally be defeated. And here we are 6 months later, and we're still putting up with this nonsense. For 6 months, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people have written their United States lawmakers and said, we don't want these bills. They don't help against piracy. They will destroy existing business on the internet. And the lawmakers said, we know better than you. We're just going to keep pushing these bills. How ridiculous is that? This is not the kind of government that we want. We want a government that responds, that interacts, that listens to the people who vote these people in. And I would go as far to say, I've said this in previous videos, that if these bills do eventually get voted into law, that we vote out the lawmakers who have been pushing for them. That's right. You know, sorry, Lamar Smith, but your ass is getting the fuck booted out of government if you really keep pushing this bill. It's that simple. And I believe it was also Patrick Leahy, he's a representative in the Senate, who's pushing for PIPA. These guys obviously have no idea what they're doing. If they really think that what the United States people want, you know, if the citizens of the United States care about internet censorship to protect the Motion Picture Association of America, they're living on fucking Pluto. Okay? No. We want you to create new jobs. We want you to stimulate the economy, not stagnate or hinder the economy. You're doing the opposite of what the country needs right now, and this is why people are in such a fucking uproar with these idiots, okay? So, please, please, spread the word, tell everyone what's going on with the bills, make them understand how important it is that you want a free and open internet, and not an internet that's going to be controlled by the Motion Picture Association and every other fucking lobbyist that whispers in the ear of a lawmaker, hey, guess what? We want something else done today to totally destroy other people's lives and businesses because we lost $5. You know, fuck these people. Fuck them. Seriously. Why do they think they're better than everyone else and they can control commerce? They don't. They shouldn't have that amount of power. And this is the voice of the people speaking up and saying, fuck you, we're not going to put up with it, we don't want these bills passed, to hell with it. And that's really what this whole movement is about. So, again, spread the word, continue to write your lawmakers, continue to write, hey, the White House, let everyone know. The more knowledge that you can spread, the better. Because for 6 months we've been doing this on the internet, finally we've reached a point where the mainstream media is now in the know on what's going on. Let's keep it going, because now, thank God, all I can say is thank you to everyone who made an honest effort to spread the word over the past 6 months, because if it wasn't for people like you, we could have been in dire straits right now. These bills could have slipped under the radar, gotten passed, and right now, we'd be in a world of shit with a censored internet, and we'd be trying to find a way to undo all the damage that these bills would have done. So it's because of the people who've been spreading the word on the internet that finally leaked it to the mainstream that now there's massive protests, that there's massive opposition, and hopefully these bills will finally get shot down. So that's it for a status on SOPA, PIPA, and internet censorship. I hope that this video has been informative and has explained everything about what's going on with these bills, and that we can continue to spread proper and correct knowledge and hopefully stir up more opposition to shut these bills down. Okay? If any other further developments happen that I feel like I need to make a really important video about it, as I've been doing, as you notice, I've only made maybe 3 or 4 of these over the past 6 months. I'm not going to be making one of these every week because it's not enough going on to be talking about it, but if there's another important update, I will make another video. I will actually leave this video as the main video on my page here on YouTube for a little while, so hopefully people will see it and spread the word about it, and we'll get a lot more support for the cause. So, I'm Darkside Phil. Thanks for listening. Thanks for sticking in there. If you've been part of the movement for the past 6 months, thank you for hanging in there and for being part of the support. We all appreciate it, all of us who are part of this, and You know, it's all about a free and open internet and not letting these corporations and these ridiculous entities think that they can control our lives and our culture and our business. We shouldn't be allowed to. It's the bottom line. Our government shouldn't be controlled by them, even though unfortunately the way that it's structured right now, it is a lot of the time. And it's time for us to put up a stand. Let's take a stand against this nonsense and get it shut down. Thanks a lot. I'll see you later.